The UES Horizon moved quietly through the Epsilon Tauri system. Captain Jimin Park watched the gas giant on the main screen. The ship had been studying it for 3 days now. "Any news about those strange radiation patterns, Dr. Tai?" she asked. Dr. Hyun Tai looked up from his work. "Captain, these patterns are completely new to us. They seem artificial, but would need technology much more advanced than ours." Captain Park thought about this. Her exploration fleet had traveled farther than any humans before them. The UES Horizon led 7 ships, with 3 of them focused on scientific research. "Captain, something is moving behind the third moon," Lieutenant Minji Kim called out from her station. Before Captain Park could say anything, 6 strange ships appeared. They had sharp angles and glowed with blue energy fields. Suddenly, all communications in the human fleet stopped working. "They're blocking our signals," Commander Do Yum Lee shouted. The alien ships, the Vraks, moved toward the human fleet with clear purpose. They scanned all the human ships, paying special attention to the research vessel UES Discovery. "Try all communication channels," Park ordered. "Send our peaceful contact messages." But the Vraks had already decided what to do. They had mistaken the humans for enemies they had been fighting for many years. Without any warning, the lead Vrak ship fired a powerful beam at the Discovery. The research ship's shields failed instantly. It broke apart in the silence of space, killing all 87 people on board. "Take defensive positions," Park commanded, her voice strong despite the shock. "Use countermeasures, but don't fire unless I say so." The human ships quickly moved into formation. The Vraks suddenly seemed confused. Their attack pattern became disorganized as they appeared to realize they had made a mistake. It was too late. Captain Park looked at the floating pieces of what had been the Discovery, her face hardening. She activated the emergency channel, pushing through the Vraks, jamming with raw power. "All ships, this is Captain Park. Begin Protocol Omega. We are now at war." In the hours that followed, the remaining human ships maintained their defensive posture. The Vraks kept their distance, seemingly uncertain what to do next. Captain Park ordered all ships to gather the Discovery's debris for proper burial and to collect any evidence. "They attacked without provocation," Park said during an emergency meeting in the Horizon's command room. "We need to understand why, but first we need to protect ourselves." Lieutenant Kim analyzed the sensor data. "Their weapons are highly advanced, Captain. The beam that hit the Discovery was some kind of directed energy weapon we've never seen before." Commander Lee studied the alien ships on the tactical display. They seemed confused now, almost like they expected something different from us. Dr. Ta nodded in agreement. "I think they mistook us for someone else. Notice how they stopped attacking after the first ship." Park considered this. "That doesn't excuse killing 87 innocent people. We need to show them humanity isn't weak." The Vraks finally sent a communication signal. On screen appeared a being with gray-blue skin, large black eyes, and no visible nose or ears. "Human vessels," the alien spoke through a translation system. "We regret the misidentification. Your ships match the profile of our enemy, the Nelvari Collective. We propose immediate cease of hostilities." Captain Park stood tall, her voice steady but cold. "You destroyed an unarmed research vessel without attempting communication. 87 people are dead because of your mistake." The Vraks commander lowered its eyes. "It was a regrettable error. We offer compensation." "Compensation doesn't bring back the dead," Park interrupted. "You attacked us assuming we were weak. You will learn how wrong you were." She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. "Send all data back to Earth Command. Request reinforcements. The Vraks need to understand that humanity will not tolerate such actions." Over the next few days, the human fleet maintained its position, watching the Vraks vessels closely. More Vrak ships arrived, keeping their distance, but clearly monitoring the humans. Captain Park received her orders from Earth Command. "Hold position until reinforcements arrive. Then implement Operation Thunderclap. A measured but overwhelming response to show the Vracs that humans were not to be underestimated. They thought us primitive because our research vessels don't carry heavy weapons or shields, Park told her officers, a mistake they won't make again. When asked if she would accept the Vrac's apology, Captain Park looked at the memorial wall where they had placed the names of the Discovery's crew. Apologies mean nothing without consequences, she said quietly. The Vracs entered the wrong fleet, and soon they'll regret it. Not because we seek revenge, but because they need to understand. Humanity comes in peace, but we do not come in weakness. As the human reinforcement fleet appeared on long-range sensors, Captain Park prepared her crew for what was to come. This wouldn't be about destruction. It would be about teaching a lesson that the Vracs and every other species in the galaxy would remember. Never mistake humanity's peaceful intentions for vulnerability. Admiral Juno Kang couldn't sit still. He walked back and forth in the large meeting room at Earth Central Command. On the big screen, the attack on the human ships played over and over. The room was filled with Earth's top military leaders. The Vracs made a terrible mistake, Admiral Kang said. He stopped the video at the moment when the Discovery exploded. Our information shows they are not a major power. They have good technology, but control only a small area of space. General Sun Woo Choi frowned and leaned forward in his chair. Why would they attack without being provoked? Even small powers should be smarter than that. Intelligence Director Juan Ryu walked to the front of the room. She was known for her calm analysis even in crisis situations. Based on Captain Park's data, the Vracs thought we were a different species called the Nelvari. They've been fighting the Nelvari for many years. She waved her hand, changing the display to show technical readings. But there's more to it. Their scans of our ships made them think we had weak technology. Our exploration ships don't use strong shields because it helps them collect better scientific data. They saw us as easy targets, Admiral Kang said quietly, and 87 people died because of their mistake. The room went silent. For decades, humans had peacefully explored space and built friendly relationships with several alien species. This was the first time any aliens had attacked human ships without reason. Admiral Songmin Han, known for his strategic brilliance, stood up from his seat. I suggest we launch Operation Thunderclap. It will be a precise but overwhelming response. We don't want to destroy the Vracs, but we must show them that attacking humans has serious consequences. Captain Park knows the Vracs better than anyone now. Director Ryu added, she should lead this operation. Within a day, Captain Jimin Park received new orders. She was given command of the UES Valkyrie, a special stealth warship so secret that most military personnel didn't even know it existed. The ship was quickly prepared for battle, with engineers working day and night to install experimental weapons that had been developed for emergency situations. Park spent long hours studying how the Vracs had fought during their brief encounter. She identified several weaknesses in how they positioned their ships and how slowly they reacted to unexpected moves. The day before departure, Captain Park called a meeting with her new officers on the Valkyrie. The ship's command center was much larger and more advanced than the Horizon's bridge. Holographic displays showed detailed maps of Vracs territory. Tomorrow we enter Vracs space, Park told them. Our mission is not about revenge. It's about respect. Lieutenant Minji Kim, who had transferred with Park from the Horizon, asked, what if they attack immediately, Captain? They won't see us coming, Park replied. The Valkyrie can hide from their sensors. Commander Yoon Ji-yoon, the Valkyrie's first officer, pointed to the tactical display. Our battle group includes 5 ships. The Valkyrie will lead, with the Thunderbolt, Lightning, Storm, and Tempest following. All are equipped with the new stealth systems. Captain Park nodded. The Vracs made 2 mistakes. First, they attacked without trying to communicate. Second, they thought humans were primitive and weak. She looked at each officer in turn. We will correct both misunderstandings. The next day, as the battle group prepared to depart, Admiral Kang came to see them off. He stood with Captain Park in the Valkyrie's docking bay. "This mission is about balance, Captain," he said. "We must respond strongly enough to ensure no one else makes the same mistake the Vrax did, but with enough restraint to show we are better than our enemies." "I understand, Admiral," Park said. "We won't destroy their civilization. We'll just make them wish they'd never attacked ours." As the Admiral left, Park walked through her new ship, meeting crew members and checking final preparations. The Valkyrie was unlike any ship she had commanded before. Its hull was made of special materials that absorbed sensor scans instead of reflecting them. Its engines ran almost silently, leaving minimal heat signatures. Most importantly, it carried weapons systems that had never been used in actual combat. In her private quarters, Park looked at the photos of the 87 crew members who had died on the Discovery. She had memorized all their names and faces. "We won't forget you," she whispered. The next morning, Captain Park took her place on the Valkyrie's bridge. Around her, the crew worked with focused intensity. "All systems ready, Captain," reported Commander Yoon. "All ships in the battle group report ready," added Lieutenant Kim. Captain Park nodded. "Begin Operation Thunderclap. Jump to Vrax territory." As the engines powered up, Park thought about what lay ahead. The Vrax had attacked humans thinking they were dealing with a simple, weak species. They had taken innocent lives based on that assumption. "They believed us primitive," she said quietly as the stars began to stretch on the view screen. "Let's show them how wrong they were." The battle group disappeared into jump space, heading toward Vrax territory, and the first true test of humanity's military might among the stars. The 5 human ships appeared in Vrax space through jump points that the Vrax thought were dangerous and unstable. Captain Jimin Park had taken a risk by trusting human navigation technology to be better than what the Vrax had. Her gamble paid off. The Valkyrie led the other 4 ships, Thunderbolt, Lightning, Storm, and Tempest, silently into enemy territory without being noticed. Lieutenant Minji Kim watched her screens with a smile. "Our ships are invisible to them, Captain. They can't detect our heat, and their scanners aren't designed to see our special hull material." Captain Park nodded, looking at the large desert moon on the main screen. Orbiting the moon was their target. The main Vrax command station for this sector. According to their intelligence, the same military group that had destroyed the Discovery was running this station. "It's time to show them who they're dealing with," Park said. "Launch the drones." The Valkyrie opened several small hatches, releasing 20 unmanned drone ships. These small vessels were programmed to look like regular human exploration ships on Vrax scanners. "Drones are away, Captain," reported Commander Yoon. "They're broadcasting the signals we programmed." Park watched as the drones moved toward a busy shipping lane. It didn't take long for the Vrax to notice them. "They've spotted the drones," Lieutenant Kim announced. "Vrax patrol ships are moving to intercept." Just as we expected. On their screens, the human officers could see nearly all the Vrax defense ships leaving the command station to chase what they thought were easy targets. The station was now protected by only a few ships. "The trap is ready," Park said. "All ships execute maneuver Talon." The 5 human vessels moved quickly from different directions, surrounding the Vrax command station. They stayed invisible until the last moment. "Drop stealth fields. Power up all weapons," ordered Park. Suddenly, 5 powerful warships appeared around the Vrax station, weapons aimed at all its critical systems. The few remaining Vrax defense ships were too far away to help. Captain Park opened a communication channel. "This is Captain Jimin Park of the United Earth Fleet. Your forces attacked and destroyed our unarmed research vessel. Surrender your station immediately." Inside the command station, Commander Vrax Thelen couldn't believe what was happening. His screen showed 5 human warships that had appeared from nowhere. The technology they displayed was far more advanced than what the initial scans had shown. With human weapons locked on every important part of his station, he really had only one choice. "We surrender," he transmitted. "We accept your terms." Captain Park sent boarding teams to secure the station. The Vrax soldiers put down their weapons without fighting. The human teams moved through the station efficiently, taking control of all key areas with minimal force. In the station's data center, the humans found valuable information. The Vracs had indeed mistaken the human fleet for their longtime enemies, the Nelvari. But they also discovered something more important. The attack had been ordered by a military group within the Vracs government that wanted to expand their territory through war. As Park walked through the captured station, a Vracs officer was brought to her. "You are Captain Park?" the Vracs asked. He was taller than most humans, with gray-blue skin and large eyes that blinked sideways. "I am," Park replied. "Our leaders told us your ships were primitive," the Vracs officer said. "They said your shields were weak and your weapons were simple. They were obviously wrong." He looked directly at Park. "What will you do now? Destroy our homeworld for revenge?" Park's face showed no emotion. "We're not interested in wiping out your species, Commander. We want your respect and your attention." Over the next few hours, Captain Park learned much about the Vracs. Their society was divided between military leaders who wanted expansion and civilian leaders who preferred peace. The military faction had been gaining power by promising easy conquests of primitive species. "Take me to your communication center," Park ordered the Vracs commander. In the station's broadcast room, Park recorded a message to be sent throughout Vracs territory. "People of the Vracs Dominion," she began. "I am Captain Jimin Park of Earth. Your military forces attacked and destroyed one of our unarmed research ships, killing 87 innocent people. They did this because they thought humans were weak and primitive." She paused. "As you can see from the capture of this station, they were mistaken." Park showed footage of the human ships appearing around the station. "We could have destroyed this facility. Instead, we took it intact, with no loss of Vracs life. Remember this, humanity comes in peace, but we are not defenseless. We seek friends among the stars, not enemies. The choice is yours." After sending the message, Park turned to the Vracs commander. "We will hold this station for now. Tell your leaders that we're willing to talk, but only with those who understand that peace requires respect." As the Vracs patrol ships returned from chasing the decoys, they found themselves facing the 5 human warships in battle formation. Instead of attacking, the patrol commanders requested permission to dock at the station. "What do we do, Captain?" asked Commander Yoon. "Let them dock," Park replied. "One ship at a time. They need to see what happened here." As night fell on the human schedule, Park stood in the station's observation deck, looking out at the stars. Phase 1 of Operation Thunderclap was complete. They had demonstrated human capabilities without unnecessary destruction. Now they would wait for the Vracs' response. "They entered the wrong fleet," she said quietly to herself. "And now they know it." The human battle group moved deeper into Vracs space. After taking the command station, Captain Park ordered her ships toward the central Vracs worlds. For 3 days, they traveled without resistance. The news of the station's capture had spread quickly. Finally, a communication signal came through. On the main screen appeared a stern-looking Vracs with dark blue skin and military decorations covering his uniform. "I am High Commander Vracs Kelter of the Vracs Dominion," he said stiffly. "You will leave our territory immediately. If you continue, we will use all our military power against you." Captain Park sat calmly in her command chair. "High Commander, I am Captain Jimin Park of Earth. Your forces attacked and destroyed our research ship without warning or reason." She pressed a button, sending the complete record of the Discovery's destruction, along with the confession of the captured station commander. "We will leave when those responsible are punished," she said firmly. "Until then, we will continue to show you why your judgment of human abilities was a deadly mistake." The High Commander cut the transmission without responding. "They're preparing defenses at all major military bases," reported Lieutenant Kim, checking her sensors. "They've called back ships from their borders." Captain Park nodded. "Exactly as expected. Proceed with Phase 2. Over the next week, the human battle group carried out Park's careful plan. They targeted only military facilities, taking special care to avoid hurting civilians. At each location, they followed the same pattern: appear suddenly, disable defenses, and take control with minimal damage. Deploy the mech units, Park ordered during their fourth operation, targeting a large shipyard in orbit around a Vrax colony world. From the human ships, special drop pods launched toward the shipyard. Inside each pod were soldiers wearing advanced mechanical combat suits that made them stronger and faster than any Vrax soldier. These human special forces moved through the shipyard with amazing speed and precision. What surprised the Vrax workers most was when the humans helped evacuate them before disabling the shipyard's weapons. One worker recorded the evacuation on his personal device and shared it across Vrax networks. "The humans are not killing civilians," the message said. "They are only targeting military targets and are helping workers escape before fighting begins." This message spread quickly, causing many Vrax citizens to question what their military leaders had been telling them. The official Vrax news had described humans as bloodthirsty monsters who would kill everyone they found. As the human operation continued, cracks began to form in Vrax leadership. Some Vrax leaders, seeing how carefully the humans avoided civilian casualties, started to argue for peace talks. One evening, as the Valkyrie orbited a captured defense platform, Captain Park received an unexpected message. "It's encrypted and marked for your eyes only, Captain," said Commander Yoon. Park opened the message in her private quarters. It was from Governor Vrax Nema, the leader of Vrax Tertius, the third most important planet in the Vrax Dominion. "Captain Park, I wish to discuss peace options," the message read. "Our military leaders are not telling our people the truth. Can we meet privately?" After verifying the message was genuine, Park agreed to a secret meeting aboard the Valkyrie. 2 days later, using the small, unmarked shuttle, Governor Vrax Nema arrived on the human flagship. She was tall even for a Vrax, with light gray-blue skin and sophisticated clothing that marked her high status. "Thank you for agreeing to meet, Captain," she said as they sat in Park's conference room. "What you have done has caused great debate among our people." "What do you mean?" asked Park. "You have only attacked military targets. You have helped civilians escape danger. This is not what our military leaders said humans would do." Park showed the governor detailed information about human ships and weapons. "We could have destroyed your major cities from a safe distance," she explained. "We chose not to." Governor Vrax Nema studied the information with wide eyes. "Your ships could have destroyed us at any time," she said in shock. "Destruction was never our goal," Park replied simply. "We wanted justice and recognition." The governor nodded slowly. "The military faction has controlled our government for too long. They started this conflict based on false information and pride. Many of us want to end this without more fighting." "What do you propose?" Park asked. "I represent a growing coalition of moderate leaders. Give us time to challenge the military faction. If we succeed, we can offer proper reparations for your losses and establish peaceful relations." As they discussed terms, Park's tactical officer interrupted with urgent news. "Captain, we're detecting a large fleet gathering near the Vrax homeworld. Over 300 ships, including their most advanced designs." Governor Vrax Nema looked worried. High Commander Vrax Kelter is preparing for a final battle. He would rather risk everything than admit he was wrong. Park nodded calmly. "We expected this. In fact, we planned for it." "What do you mean?" asked the governor. "The High Commander thinks numbers will win. 300 ships against our 5. He doesn't understand that it's not about quantity." The governor looked at Park with new respect. "What will you do?" "End this conflict with as little bloodshed as possible," Park replied. "Can you get a message to your coalition members on the homeworld?" "Yes, I can," said the governor. "Good. Tell them to be ready. The next 48 hours will change the Vrax Dominion forever." As Governor Vrax Nema departed, Captain Park gathered her officers to prepare for the final phase of Operation Thunderclap. On the Vrax homeworld, military leaders prepared for what they thought would be their moment of triumph. They gathered their biggest fleet, and their best weapons. What they didn't know was that Captain Park had predicted exactly this response, and she was ready with a surprise that would change everything. In the vast expanse of space, the Vrax defense fleet surrounded their home planet, ready for battle. High Commander Vrax Kelter believed they would crush the human invaders. But Captain Jimin Park had a different plan. The human ships arrived alone, without massive backup. This surprised the Vrax leaders. Captain Park broadcast a message that challenged everything they understood about warfare. She explained that they could have brought thousands of ships, but chose to come with just 5. When the Vrax fleet prepared to attack, something unexpected happened. All their weapon systems suddenly stopped working. Their engines went silent. Communications remained active, which was exactly what Park wanted. She had used a special technology called the blackout system, an electromagnetic pulse that targeted only Vrax technology. Their ships were disabled, but life support remained functional. The Vrax military watched in shock as human boarding teams peacefully took control of their command ship. High Commander Vrax Kelter was arrested without a single shot being fired. The moderate members of the Vrax government, led by Governor Vrax Nema, quickly took control. They announced their desire to make peace and apologize for previous conflicts. 2 weeks later, something remarkable happened. In the Grand Hall of Reconciliation, human and Vrax representatives signed an alliance. Council leader Vrax Nema admitted that humanity's approach was completely different from what they expected. "Your restraint was something we did not understand," the Vrax leader said. Captain Park simply responded that true strength means knowing when not to use force. The story of this conflict spread quickly. Other alien civilizations saw how humans had solved a potential war through intelligence and diplomacy. They began to see humanity not just as a technological power, but as a species capable of wisdom and compassion. For the crew of the UES Discovery who had died earlier, this moment became their lasting legacy. What started as a tragic misunderstanding ended with a new understanding between 2 different species, proving that communication and respect could overcome even the most difficult challenges. As the ceremony ended, Captain Park looked at the assembled representatives. She knew that this moment was more than just a treaty. It was a turning point that would change how civilizations across the galaxy would interact with each other in the future.